Hey everybody, my name is Mitchell.
I'm Skaji.
I'm Stevie.
And we're here for Tea and Tarot at Books, Beans, and Candles one more time. So this is our July edition, because we do it the first Friday of every month. We also do a live session later tonight, or I should say on the first Friday, because who knows when we're actually going to post this. It may be tomorrow if this one gets posted. So the first Friday at 6:30 of the month, and we do a live in-person kind of Tea and Tarot thing, so it's free. You got tea and you get the tarot, you get all the stuff.
So even the tea is free.
Even the tea is free. Just want a couple of events that are coming up. We do have the Psychic Fair coming up September 30th. Ellen Dugan's going to be here. We have lots of different readers, obviously Stevie, Skaji, me. We'll all be reading as well. Plus, we got on, is it the 19th, I believe?
August 19th.
Full Contact, isn't it?
Full Contact Tarot. That's my 6-hour intensive workshop. Where I don't tell you what the cards mean, but we talk about lots of exercises to help you get in touch with your cards. I even include crayons.
And candy.
I do throw candy at people.
That's always a positive. Can't go wrong with that. So those are the things that are coming up in the near future. Of course, MCP is on the fourth Thursday of every month, and that podcast will be going out next week. And hopefully I'll get this one out tonight, but we'll see.
And for our live events, which are located here at Books, Beans, and Candles in Birmingham, Alabama. Is that for people who are elsewhere in the world?
They all know where we are. Everybody knows.
I forget where we are.
Oh, I mean, that's because, of that whole dementia thing. All right. So I'm going to do a spread called the Spirit Spread. And it's obviously a 5-card spread. And this deals with the elements. So like the top one in this case is going to be earth. This is going to be air. Fire, see a theme here, water, there's water, and spirit. Well, that is a joy. Our spirit has been stabbed.
Could be worse, could be stabbed.
Could be stabbed, yes. So the earth card really comes down to, it represents, the physical and the material qualities of the person or the situation. So this spread is really for like a situation the person is dealing with. So in this case, we can look at the top one and go the 5 of Cups. Ooh, it's water, intuition, it's emotions, feelings, and relationships hanging out there. And of course, it's reversed in this case, and I do reverses. That this is that letting go, acceptance. You don't have to necessarily like it, but it's sort of that I've come to terms with. Yeah, it sucks. I've lost this, but I still have this kind of attitude. All right. And of course, this card is about the physical health and all the aspects of wealth, such as inheritance, property, and real estate. So it really encompasses the earth one, encompasses that material aspect. So when we think of prosperity, that's what we're thinking of here. All right. So, and of course, this would be someone who asked, a question, I'm going to move. Is this a good idea? As I'm about to buy a house, how's it going to go? And of course, if I'm looking at, the earth in this case, I was going to buy a house, it'd be, it may not be exactly what you want. It may take longer than you like, and you're just going to have to accept it. So it's not, it's almost one of those things that say, you might be better off where you are, kind of thing, because of just where you are. What do you guys think?
As it being a reversed card and kind of ignoring the water element of the cups,
yeah.
But going from what we see in the image, it, in addition to that acceptance thing, it could have also to do with the realization of resources at hand that we didn't realize we had. That would be those 2 cups left behind.
Right.
The 5 of Cups, especially like in this type of kind of setup and in its place in the spread, it's a very much kind of ignoring the watery emotional kind of like up in the air, sort of just like we're just vibing sort of feel, and being very pragmatic and realistic about things, and having to really just look at biting the bullet, which can sometimes be a little bit antithesis to the cups in a lot of ways.
Right.
So
And just do it.
just do it.
It's definitely one of those. It's gonna, you may look and go, okay, this is gonna be hard and this is tough,
Yeah.
and you just have to accept that. But if you're gonna do it, do it.
Yeah.
And make it happen. And just accept that it may not be as easy or as smooth as you might like it, but it's still that direction you need to go. All right, so let's look at the air one. And of course, now we have air. and this card represents the mental aspects, right, of the person or the situation. Looks at the card for information about personal, personal communications, mental health or illness, or a group mindset. In this case, you've got the Nine of Cups, which is, it's upbeat, it's happy, it's feeling good about it, things are looking positive. So definitely the situation is like, okay, this is looking good. We are mentally there, we're ready to make it happen. We maybe not got the 10 yet, so we may not be there all the way, but we are definitely feeling like we're heading in the right direction.
We're just vibing. It's cool.
I
feel good.
Yeah.
I also use this Robin Wood deck, and I call this guy Norm.
Norm.
After the sitcom Cheers, because he looks kind of like that guy. And one of the things that comes to mind, if this is in an air kind of setting, maybe we're a little drunk with what we know. We're overwhelmed by our own biases. So if this is that house thing, it might indicate, and for me reading this, it would be maybe we should investigate a little bit more and just don't take everything at face value.
All right.
Especially when you look at it with that Five of Cups, which is like nothing can be changed. You're having to really kind of find that patience and accept that things are going to be as they are. I think sometimes you have that kind of opposite end of things like, oh, I can't change anything, it's cool, and it's sure, but is that actually helping you? Are you kind of pretending things are fine, or is it actually helping you be fine? And there's kind of that very passive sort of just like, I'll just wait for things to shake out, when actually maybe actually picking something up and doing something would help you much better.
True. And of course, then the bottom one here, the one closest to us, is Fire. This card represents the strength of the character of the person, or the power of the situation. And you look at the card for information, it's alive with the person's pivotal power of the situation to format change or affect those involved. And of course, when you have the King reversed in this case, it's often a sign of decline, or maybe not the wisest with money, and the finances in this case. Less conservative for sure.
And I would go in that direction as well, especially since typically the King of Pentacles is, of the court cards, for me, tends to be the most practical, the most grounded. And this in the Fire Quarter would indicate a lot of impulsivity.
Yeah.
With him being reversed, it kind of maintains that usual vibe of just like tradition and stubbornness, but to the point of you're being unrealistic or unreasonable about it. It's very cool that these things have worked before, but like they're not working now. So are you going to kind of keep this going, or you're going to change, right? You're going to do something else, right? But the King of Pentacles, no.
No.
I'm going to keep
going
doing it.
straight ahead, because
I'm
going to beat my head in the wall till it makes it work.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next one is Water, and this card represents the emotional character of a person or situation. Look at this card for information about the normal emotional state and the range of emotions from a person, or the development and value of emotion of a group. All right. So here, you get the Eight of Swords reverse, so the bonds being cut, freedom, things coming loose, finally the stagnation, things, making it happen, making it work.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things in this deck, especially with this card, is there is a lot of water in the background. And it's almost sunlight coming through storm clouds, all these kind of things, and that it can indicate for me realization of emotional undercurrents, the emotion behind the thoughts that we're holding ourselves still with. So especially here in this quarter, with response to the house question, it's having a realization emotionally about how to free ourselves, how to move beyond that.
And hopefully having that realization, as you're having this realization of like, here's how I got here in the first place, here's how I begin to keep these things from happening again, hopefully. There's very much that sense of, if we're going to go through all this effort and have to like kind of play essentially like a mental chess to get out of and to change these things, then hopefully you don't have to go back. So making those long-term plans. We would hope anyway.
And of course, Spirit, this card involves the archetypical information about the persons or the situation that is the focus of the reading. Look to this card for the overarching renaissances, for the commentary about a person's future path, or what kind of future trajectory will manifest from the situation. Take careful note, this card especially, what suit and the kind it comes from, you'll learn much. So this is definitely your mental card, right? So it's, it's 3 swords shoved through a heart. So we're dealing with some pain here. we're going to be dealing with some agony, some tough things that are going to have to happen. So it looks like this is going to be, in the future, a tough road, or at least a painful one to get through.
And sometimes I'm not seeing it here, but sometimes this card comes across to me as some of those situations where we try to think our way through our pain, and in a lot of cases we try to kind of pin down our emotions instead of kind of letting those exist and to be present with them. And of course that's how we end up, sublimating psychological
Well, and sometimes pain has to happen.
Yeah.
If this adventure, this is going to happen, it may be some pain involved, but you're going to have to go through that. That pain is going to have to be inflicted to get to what you're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm.
So pain's not always bad, and it's necessary.
And with the Three of Swords in particular, it's the emotion of it is going to happen regardless. So you can compartmentalize it, you can break it down, you can have that very sword-like aspect of thinking through it later on. But this is at the forefront, so just let it kind of do whatever it's going to do, and then you can kind of work through it and analyze it and do what you need to with it. But it's here, deal with it.
Okay, well that was my spread. Well, Stevie, I believe you got one.
Alright, I don't know if I'm going to flip or not. I'm trying to decide.
Just let the cards fall out.
Yeah, just whatever they're going to do. So we're in the dog days of summer, and it's called that because Sirius becomes most prominent in the night sky. And when you look at it astrologically, because we're turning to that now, it's really leading on Orion into kind of whatever's coming before him. And when you apply that to astrology, it's kind of the same thing with the human psyche. But this is the energy that's being present that's really kind of dragging you in one direction or the other. So it kind of gives a little bit of clarity, a little bit of credence within this reading. With our first card, it's the general feeling of that energy with the Eight of Stones. So it's very much that the bulk of things, a kind of massive motion has been made, and that's excellent, but now we got to work on the details. You made those big moves, so now what? And really taking that time to slow down and to find that balancing act of things. This is the Slow Holler tarot deck that I should maybe mention to begin with. It is a collaboration deck from a couple different artists, so it's an interesting kind of it's an interesting little deck.
It looks like Bigfoot.
It does look like Bigfoot, yeah.
Stacking the stones.
And the Eight of Stones, the number 8 in the way that I read it is always either full of inertia or full of momentum. And this card has that both kind of feel to it.
Yes, and
Where you get that building going on, so the stacking, the building here, we're getting there. You may not be finished yet, but you're really getting close. So I definitely look at that as one as progress is being made and forward motion is happening. Even though we're dealing with the stones, it's obviously the earth.
Yes, yeah. Especially with this one where it's there's that teetering sort of little motion lines around it. It's it might fall, and if it does fall, that sucks. But because of that slowing down momentum, you get that time to really kind of re-coordinate and kind of figure things out a little bit more. What stone am I going to put here instead of where I put it last time? There's kind of that opportunity to just figure things out.
Well, and it shows that focus.
Yes.
In this case, your Bigfoot is putting that last stone. He can't get distracted.
Right.
Otherwise, he'll knock the whole stack down. So he's got to really focus that and sort of push other things aside right now and focus on what he's doing.
And all these little lines right here almost give it that cartoon motion.
Yeah,
thing, almost like they're sitting here doing this.
Yeah.
Wobbling. Yeah. He's like, okay, Django. Got to pull that one out.
So with this card, it's the things that want to derail that motion, derail that sense of focus. With Awakening or the Judgment card, this deck likes to rename stuff. It's very much that we have our goals, we have our intent, but oh god, what about the external forces? Am I okay with that? There's a lot of that sort of thoughts and feelings and how other people kind of impress that upon you and how you feel about that within the self. It's very much that id versus ego, just is this working? Am I sure? That self-doubt beginning to really kind of come to the forefront and awaken within the self.
I feel like that card's looking at me.
Yeah.
It
creepy
has a lot of
awakening
The
card.
all-seeing card.
Yeah.
Well, and it has a lot of a what if kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we what if ourselves into trouble.
Yeah.
What's going to come out of this weird cave? We don't know. What if it's bad? What if it's good? What if it's bad?
Definitely get that unknown aspect to it.
Absolutely. So things that are helping move some of that energy and give us more focus with that 7 of branches. who cares what's coming out of the thing? You got 7 branches you can beat someone up with.
That's right. You're in a good position to
Yes.
smack whatever comes out of that cave.
Very much that vitality, that energy, that offensiveness, and kind of readiness to take on the challenge as opposed to have to cower and put yourself in that weird defensive position of things. It's like, nah, I got these sticks, I'm ready, like just ready to go.
What's with the dental work?
Teeth fall out when you get hit.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the real meaning behind the card, but that's what I always think of.
Well, and that fire energy with that
Yeah.
7, a lot of times that card presents itself in other decks as confidence.
Confidence, know where you're standing.
Very much so. Teeth, be ready to fight. I don't know. And then for the outcome, it's just kind of where does this all lead the culmination of with the Architect or the King of Vessels or the King of Cups, rename him. Very much that, sure, it was hard, but now you have this sense of elevation, the sense of sturdiness, the sense of kind of, oh, okay, this is that emotional thing I can really wrap around and feel very confident.
And I feel good about it.
Feel good about it, yeah. And in a way that's not quite so, I think, rushed or quite so like intense sometimes as some of the other kings, like the swords or the wands. The King of Vessels is a little bit more like, we have that pace. It's a little bit more set up to just figure things out.
Some maturity there with it.
Yeah.
And the choice of the word architect, and do they use that term for all 4 suits?
Yes.
The choice of the word architect implies planning, building, producing.
The designer.
And I find it, these look like octopus or squid tentacles coming up there, which implies something reaching up from the depths.
It's a nice, interesting card.
Very cool.
Indeed.
All right, and I
That's it.
believe we'll try something a little different this time. And Tracy's going to bring a card up and he wants to talk about it. And he's going to a little more in depth about just one card here.
Yep. So yeah, we're introducing a new segment.
Dun, dun, dun. Card of the month.
And so
Card of the month.
I thought we would choose it's a lot of glare. This is the Moon card. And this is from the Rider-Waite-Smith deck.
Let's see if that makes it better. Nope.
No, it's pretty much that.
Yeah.
Window.
Well, we tried.
So the Moon card is one of the major arcana. It's numbered 18, and in this card we have the two critters and this crawdad coming up out of the water here. Of course, the moon. All right. All of these little things coming down, and these 2 towers. And there's so many aspects of this. A lot of times this card comes across as being related to the unconscious mind, or the things that are in us that are hidden. Some older writers really give this card they put the whole nastiness into this card.
Yes, people really hate the moon.
But
See, I always like it.
Same.
but more modern writers they equate this with the feminine energies,
Right.
feminine mysteries, those kinds of things. What I like about this card is in this deck, these 2 critters, one of them seems to be a wolf or a coyote, and the other one seems to be a domesticated dog. We have those friends of us and those critters that used to scare humans to no end, the wild and the tame. And both of those things there, though, howling at the moon. So even in our civilization, there's still that connection to nature. This card is astrologically associated with Cancer.
Pisces.
Cancer.
It depends on who's writing it too, though. So.
Golden Dawn says
Okay.
it's Cancer, which is why Waite included this little critter on the card.
Yes.
Because it's a Renaissance representation of a crab, and sometimes a crawdad. I didn't know that till this week. But with that aspect, we have that watery element.
Yes.
So who says it's Pisces?
So you find it a lot in modern astrology. They'll tie those together, mostly because of the way that they fall within like the order of things. So it's just it aligns better with Pisces as opposed to Cancer, which aligns better with the Chariot.
That just sounds lazy.
I don't know.
Well,
I'm not an astrologer, so
I don't have an
what I know
explanation for it.
I feel very chariot right now. You guys are going each direction. Yeah.
But that's that's kind of an overview of some of the stuff with this card as it presents to me, but a lot of it has to do with the unconscious, and sometimes the things that we push down and hide from ourselves.
Things that are hidden.
If anyone is like super into Jungian like philosophy, the sun and the moon are kind of like the kind of cards of the id versus the ego. So it's a very fun kind of dichotomy to explore with those two.
What are your takes on the moon?
I mean, I'll just do something basic. I always look, when I'm looking at that card, it's reversed, I'm looking at it as just more like the dark things still hidden, things you still don't know, things you're dealing with, whether it's a subconscious level at this point. This would be more of the wild. So those are the things that we'd fear, things that are beneath the surface of the water. When it's upright, I really look at it as the full moon, things coming to light. So maybe things that were deceptive, but they're coming out. So now we're doing the consciousness state. So it's more what we know about it. It's now more on the domestic or the tame side of things, and it's on the surface of the water. It's no longer buried beneath, so things are coming out.
And that's our little take on the moon.
Well, cool, guys. Well, thank you for joining us again with T and Tara at Books, Beans, and Candles in Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah, that's where we are. And of course, don't forget the first Friday of the month, 6:30, T and Tara. It's free. And how many years have we been doing that now?
Yes.
Yes, a really long time.
More than 10?
Yeah, over 10 years. So we're doing it for a while. And people come and have a great time. We practice reading for each other, and you got professional readers here to help you out.
And we occasionally play a little game, and we have a good old time.
And of course, the Psychic Fair, which we've already started accepting signups for. So you can call or come by and reserve your spot now and get signed up for September 30th. And it goes from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. that one day only. All right. So guys, thank you very much, and we say goodbye.
See you next time.